Playoffs?
Playoffs?
We're talking about playoffs? What's up, guys?
The quote that'll live forever. Shout out Jim Mora, Sr.
It is, man. It is playoff season for almost every professional sport I can think of here. So we did have the NFL draft. We'll get into that this week, guys. Welcome everyone in. Papa G, if you were in here, welcome as well. Happy to have everyone here. How's your week going, guys?
It's
Very
early.
good.
So far, so good.
My team won the draft.
You got an A grade, so did mine, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, it depends on which publication you look at. That's what they say about the Niners is either a B grade or a C grade. But it seems like everybody, that's the thing. We actually talked about it on Saturday, Sam. Like everybody leaves the draft feeling like, oh, they feel great. Hope springs eternal, right? Like this is we address.
Here's why we won the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Like everybody can say, oh hell yeah, we won the draft in freaking April. You can say that, right?
Sure.
I mean, really, obviously,
who didn't win the draft?
It takes a cup. Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Well, we might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. So, Sam, I mean, go ahead, man. Go off.
Raiders number 6 overall. They take Ashton Genty, best running back in the class. And I know traditionally everybody's going to say you don't take a running back this high and blah, blah, blah. I think, throughout this draft, what I saw, and, it's hard to separate the Shedeur Sanders and each team. I thought overall the Raiders had a really solid draft. In the second round, they traded back multiple times and they collected picks throughout. So since the draft started, as everybody's been looking at the highlight reels and anything they could scout or read about these players, it seems like the Raiders got a really good, I would say, top 5 picks. Their offensive linemen that they took in the third round, Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. Those guys are considered like 2 really good guards. One of them's a tackle, but probably will be a guard. But you got like 5 guys that are going to be instant contributors. And that's something that we talked about earlier a few weeks ago with Pete Carroll and John Spytek is when Pete Carroll came into Seattle, they turned that roster over. They had the most transactions in that league year, and the Raiders they're already on pace to do that. They're already releasing players from the previous regime. They're doing their work and bringing in a bunch of undrafted free agents. So they're getting ready to turn this roster over, get younger, and tying it back into, why the Raiders didn't take Shedeur Sanders. If you look at all these guys that the Raiders took, one of the first things that was said about all of them is how much they love football, working out, studying film, and being a good student of the game. That's something that Pete Carroll and John Spytek value very much. Pete Carroll still teaches at USC. He teaches like one class, and he does a couple of hours each week. So that's kind of where I thought why Shedeur Sanders wasn't going to make it as a Raider. Even though they had multiple opportunities to pick him. I know some of my Raider fans were texting me, why don't they take him here? Take him here. I just think it was a fit. I just think the interview probably didn't go well, and the personality fit. I don't think it was going to work with Pete Carroll in that first year, second year, and beyond. And also, too, the Raiders traded their third round pick to bring in Geno Smith. So you have a veteran quarterback. And I know everybody's going to say the Raiders are not going to be ready to compete for a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to compete for a Super Bowl right now, but they're trying to get as many playmakers and be as competitive as they could possibly be. So they went and got the running back. They took multiple wide receivers. They took multiple guys on the offensive line. They did take a developmental project in the sixth round at quarterback. And then I know it's listed as 2 quarterbacks. But this guy, he's more of a football player. Tommy Mellott, quarterback out of Montana State. He's really good at wide receiver. He could play running back. So I don't think he's going to be a quarterback. But they did draft Cam Miller as a developmental project. But I also think this says a lot about what the Raiders think about Aiden O'Connell. He's definitely going into the season as the backup. And then you got the project player at the back end. They're just trying to add dudes that can come in, start, compete, and start contributing right away. That's what they want. And fortunately for, Shedeur Sanders, it wasn't going to work out for him in Las Vegas.
Right. Yeah. I think the Raiders did an excellent job with the draft. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't try and throw a curveball like they've done in many years past and just said, we're taking the best player, and it was the running back. And I think you have a generational talent running back that he's going to be hard to tackle, and it's going to be fun to watch him develop throughout the
question I have for you, Sam, as like Ashton Jeanty, obviously now on the Raiders, when in our fantasy league are you looking to draft him? is it your first pick in the first round, or do you try to hope he's still there in the second or the third? Like how soon are you looking to draft him?
I'm not revealing that secret yet.
I tell you what, like I'll be shocked if he makes it past the first round. We've got a couple of Raiders fans in our league, obviously besides you. So he's not getting to the second.
I think he's going to be a very high fantasy guy because Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they added 2 guys to the offensive line that are really good. That offensive line is actually young, with the exception of Colton Miller. And I know he's kind of a question mark right now. I think they're going to fix it. I think they'll bring him back. They'll work something out. But now after this draft, that offensive line is a lot deeper and way more physical than you are last year with Jackson Powers Johnson at center. That guy is a dog. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be a very fine pickup wherever you get him in the fantasy football draft.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it's like all signs are pointing up on him. Like,
this dude Beach, this dude had a first round grade, and it was a miracle that he fell that far in the second round. I don't know if you guys looked into his story, but his brother was killed in the New Orleans shooting, I believe it was, if I remember that correctly.
The truck.
Oh, the truck, yeah. And he caught the game-winning touchdown in his following game, which was a bowl game. And just an easy story to root for. His brother was also a football player, and just seems like an all-around good dude. So you're, easy to root for. But he also looks like he's going to be your number 2 wide receiver going in. Dude is an animal. So I think they got some studs, and that's what you need. You just need to keep adding. You did really well last year. I think your first 3 picks turned out to, be starters, and you had a 4th guy as a contributor. Now you got a solid draft. It looks like right now you need starters. You need depth. A+ in my mind. They didn't screw it up. They did not one pick was like, what?
A head scratcher.
What are you doing? All of them were like, okay, I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we might as well go down the draft order here. Vince, you're up next. Vince, you guys took who I thought might have slid down a little bit further given his recent ankle injury here, and I thought the Eagles might be looking at him, but looks like you guys took the player that I was thinking
Michael
about
Williams.
Here.
Yeah. I'm genuinely thrilled with that pick. That's a great one. You can tell that Robert Saleh's back because the first 5 picks, all defense, baby. That's actually the first time since I looked it up. I believe it was 1981 that the Niners went like 5 defensive players in their first 5 picks. Let's see, and that's the same class that had like Ronnie Lott and Eric Wright in it. So I'm not saying it's that class, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we got a Ronnie Lott in here, but it's good to know that they're focusing on the defense. I mean, that the run defense especially was just abysmal in that second half of the year. So getting Williams to give Bosa a running mate, on the other side, on the other edge, that's going to be huge going forward for the next few years. While you got him on the rookie contract, at least Michael Williams. The question mark, like going Upton Stout, like your compensatory 3rd round pick, the cornerback, that one left me a little bit of a head scratcher. He's a smaller guy. He's basically he projects out to be a nickel cornerback. Uh, I mean, you kind of already have one in Juan Williams, so that was interesting. But I just, I don't like that's one like they didn't really address the offensive line. That's where I'm like a little bit confused. I wish the
That
Niners would
is
have done more with the offensive line. They hit the defensive line hard, and I'm glad that they did. But I mean, in the draft, you got, let me just count. You got a guard, Connor Colby from Iowa in the 7th round, one of your 2 7th round compensatory picks. And then in terms of undrafted, you got Drew Moss, who was an offensive lineman out of Colorado State, and that's it for offensive line. None of those guys are tackles either. So I don't know, man. I it makes me a little nervous. Trent Williams is not getting younger. I mean, he's still all world talent, but like if he gets injured again, that's going to be a huge problem, especially on Brock's blind side. And so I'm a little antsy there. Maybe there's a trade to be had. Maybe somebody wants out of their team, and the Niners are going to try to pounce on that situation, but that's not going to reveal itself until basically preseason starts, right? Like when people start missing games. So I guess until then, I'm just going to have Ajita for the next 4 months about this offensive line. So that's great. The one thing that the Niners did, and that's something that they've had a habit of doing all the time, is you just grab a quarterback at the back end. If you don't if you're not trying to draft a quarterback at the start of the draft, you just throw one at the end. And they got Curtis Rourke from Indiana, excuse me. And he was basically playing on a torn ACL the entire season, and actually Indiana had a hell of a season, even with that quarterback having a torn ACL. So it's a project. It's a guy that probably won't be available, at least to start the year. He may not even be available at all this first year. So he might be a guy that is trying to push to be the backup quarterback in 2026. So, but 2025, you got him on the roster. And then if something happens and he's able to showcase something, you trade him to somebody and get a little value out of it. And that's something that the Niners have historically done. You think about guys like, all the way back to like Jim Druckenmiller, Elvis Gerbach was, Steve Young's backup quarterback for a while, and they ended up getting some value trading him to the Chiefs. Like situations like that have been happening forever with the Niners. And I mean, you look at even recently with who's Nick Mullins, he's still like getting backup jobs. I think he's in maybe Jacksonville now or something, but maybe that's CJ Beathard. But the point is, like, the Niners backup quarterbacks, they look good on tape, and like they're able to get some value out of those guys going forward. I like doing that. Jordan James, the running back specifically that they got in the 5th round. That's a guy. Let's see, the scouting report that I read. It looks like his speed is the question mark, and that's kind of why he fell down to the 5th round, is because he's just kind of mid in terms of speed. A 4.55 second 40. And then the draft being like super deep at running back, that's kind of what had him fall to the 5th round. But like he could end up being a guy that if something happens with CMC again, or maybe next year if CMC's not able to go, or he's gone, or whatever happens, he's a guy that may be able to feature in the future, possibly. So I like that as well. But yeah, I like the defense. I like the running back. I like throwing a quarterback in there. So I'm we'll see. I'm kind of like letting it play out, I guess, as far as the Niners go. I just, I'm trying not to get too high. I'm not trying to get too low. You didn't get like, Michael Williams is the biggest name they got in the draft. That's great. He's not going to sell a ton of jerseys, at least not initially. So I'm not going to try to get too high or too low on these picks. I want to actually see how they work out. Look at me on the internet taking a measured approach. What kind of bullshit is this?
It sounds like the grade that is being bestowed with the 49ers seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all I can say, boys, is Howie done did it again, boys. There is no reason Jahad Campbell should have fell to the Eagles, and he sure did. So I would say that is
they
amazing.
had to trade up to get him though.
one pick, and we swapped a fifth. Ah, shoot me, huh? Jahad Campbell is the first linebacker the Eagles have drafted since 1979 with Jerry Robinson. If you're a Raiders fan, you might be familiar with him. He ended his career from San Francisco, local for us in that retrospect. And then we turned around and drafted a safety, something that the Eagles just don't do in Andrew Makuba. So I'm super excited. Howie always seems to find a way to make the draft his personal chessboard, and he's done it again here. So we also did draft a quarterback in Kyle McCord. Pretty excited about that one. And it wouldn't be an Eagles draft if we didn't get a Georgia player, which we did get a linebacker in Smail Mondin in the 5th round. So
yeah, normally you get a defensive lineman, but this time you backed it up a couple of rounds, and you backed it up one space on the defense too, to the linebacking level.
I think that was one of the things that we were a little bit thin in, as far as if we were to be injured, which luckily, Reed Blankenship and Zach Bond stayed relatively healthy for the whole season. But if one of them gone down, we were super thin at the middle linebacker position, and it really showed once Nakobe Dean went down. So I think they really made a good point of addressing that. One thing I did want to note at 4 o'clock Eastern today, I believe that any free agents that sign after 4 o'clock do not affect any compository picks. So basically what that means is Howie Roseman now doesn't have to worry about losing compository picks and can just go spend money. So I'm curious to see what we're going to get. I have been having my eye on a certain player, and I just, I think it might happen. If it does, I'm not going to say I'm an oracle or anything like that, because it seems to be the talk amongst everyone here. But it seems like what we could get here, we are looking at, pulling up my notes here that I had here. Justin Simmons. So he played with Vic Fangio in Denver. It sounds like he kind of had a falling out with Atlanta. Doesn't really want to go back to them. So we'll see. I mean, we've got money to burn. We did trade CJ Gardner-Johnson, so there is definitely a position needed at the safety position out there. So I'm excited, man. It's another season of Howie Roseman doing Howie Roseman things, and next year we have an absurd amount of picks that I'm sure is going to be used as trade bait to get whatever he wants to get. So let's go for it, boys.
Oh boy. Let's see what else. They announced that they're going to announce the schedule on May 14th during the draft. God, the NFL is good. Like, they are very good at monopolizing attention, aren't they? And announcing an announcement, like who but the NFL, like, Jesus Christ.
Did you guys see, I think it was in the 3rd round, that wrestler for the who did the Bears
the
pick?
Chicago Bears guy.
Oh man, I was driving and had the audio on that. Man, he had me fired up, man. That guy was awesome to listen to. I don't know if you guys got to get the chance, but if you look it up,
I seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears pick, the wrestler. I forget the guy's name, but that was great. It was great banter. I love that he was sticking it to Lambeau and reminded them that Caleb Williams is undefeated at Lambeau Field. It's great.
Oh man. I like Jimmy Uso coming out for the Niners, and I actually like that they dusted off Julian Peterson. Julian Peterson got to announce a pick for the Niners, so that was kind of cool too.
They had the GOAT in Jordy Nelson for Green Bay do a pick for them too. So all around, man.
Yeah,
it was fun times.
Yeah. I mean, and they said it was like 200,000 people in Green Bay for the draft, which is basically double the entire town's population.
Yeah.
And I think in part they put it in Green Bay to try to limit the amount of people that would show up, and no, that didn't work because the NFL is king. And
Yep.
so maybe next year they just say, screw it, we're putting it in LA, or screw it, we're like we'll just put it at freaking any of these like Houston or just one of the big major markets. I would say the Bay Area, except the Bay Area is hosting the Super Bowl, so that you want to kind of spread the love a little bit,
Oh man, put it here
Yeah.
too.
Well, no, I mean if you're hosting the Super Bowl in 2026, and then like 3 months later turn right around and have the draft here again, I think that's like showing favoritism or something like that. So they probably wouldn't do that, but whatever.
Well, I believe that wraps up everything I had for the draft, unless you guys want to talk about the teams that did terrible at their draft day. Sam is biting to say it.
Do it.
I'm just like, what caused Shedeur to fall? What are you guys thinking? Like that's what everybody's talking about. Nobody's talking about Cam Ward going number one.
No, it's Shedeur. Yeah.
It's about Shedeur falling.
So I think it's a combination of things. First off, I think the teams themselves probably had a second or a third round grade on him. And then when you put all the extracurricular stuff on it, it makes the teams not want to, pull the trigger on it until it suddenly became worth it. And it became worth it for the Browns in the 5th round. And that's a poverty franchise that likes to, throw money at risky situations, right? If Shedeur Sanders ends up working out, then they got a hell of a
manager
value.
and head coach wanted it.
That was
the video of them celebrating.
Yeah.
You get a potential top 5 pick in the later rounds on day 3, and everybody is just like, you would, if that was any other player, you'd be fist pumping and cheering.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, the body language is weird. It sounds like you hear whispers, I guess, of like people saying like maybe the interviews weren't that good or something with the teams, and that's another contributing factor. So something with the personality was just rubbing people the wrong way, I guess. So he's gonna have a shot in Cleveland to kind of prove it all wrong. The Browns did draft a different quarterback in the 3rd round too.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting situation to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, they have like 5 QBs, man. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they brought in Joe Flacco again, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly. So you got Flacco there. You got he who must not be named. The massage artist. Huh?
Isn't
Pickett got traded up there.
Pickett is over there, and now you got 2 quarterbacks in the draft. So there's just not enough, there's not enough roster spots to
Deshaun Watson's not going to be on the roster because of the injury. He's
right. Yeah. So the injury.
Right.
Yeah. So that's, wasted money. Just Browns wasting, just Browns doing Browns things. Brown's gonna Brown, as Papa G in the chat.
The Browns
says.
have 5 QBs. Like one of them's got to work. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
One of them's got to work.
I mean, right now, of the 3 that aren't the rookies, I think I like Kenny Pickett the most in terms of like stability, but I think in terms of like big play, like just F it, let's throw the ball.
Super Bowl
champion. Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Yeah, you're right. No, but I mean, if you're looking for fantasy value, it's Flacco. If you're looking for stability, it's probably Kenny Pickett, and then if you're just looking for upside, it's probably Shedeur Sanders for upside. But I mean,
if Shedeur Sanders, if his talent really is the number 2 overall pick, or arguably the number 1 overall pick, you would think once camp opens and preseason starts, like he should blow all these dudes out of the water.
Yeah,
based on like an ability to play football, he should.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I tend to agree with what you're saying, Vince, and why he fell so hard. Julia was asking me, why did he build his own like draft room? Why does he have a shelf for all the hats? Like there
That's
was
his
like so
dad,
many
man. That's his
things
dad
like
in his mind.
that he
Yeah.
did that I think just doesn't we're regular people, and he's obviously the talent level, but also the financial level with being the son of Deion Sanders. He's not a normal person. He didn't have a normal upbringing. I'm just talking like average American, average income, like Americana type of stuff here. So I think there's definitely something with the personality. I think there's definitely something that is a little bit off-putting. Um, over the past couple of days as he was falling, I was kind of like wondering how he going into depth of like how he handled interviews and things like that. So I started finding like post-game interviews, and he was just, what can I do with an offensive line like this? Like he was blaming teammates. Like he was saying, well, there's only so many things we can do because of the offensive line. So it was like, and he had a terrible offensive line. Like they had a terrible offensive line. But I think it's one thing to come out and like say it, and it's another thing to say like, we win as a team, we lose as a team, we got to button things up. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're the face of a team, you're the quarterback, you're automatically that thing. And I think when you're acting that way in college, where you're passing the blame, where like I did my part, like that rubs people the wrong way. That's not leadership. Just because you're the most talented doesn't mean you're the default leader. We in many sports we've seen the least talented guy be the captain of a team, be the heart and soul of the team. What do we talk about with Draymond Green? He's not their number one scorer. He's not the name of the franchise, the face of the franchise. He's a piece to these championship teams. But he's often referred to as the heart and soul of the Golden State Warriors. And I think teams just added up all the stuff and just said, this is a guy that we're not going to feel comfortable with as the face of our franchise. He's not mature enough for it. And I think it's also the baggage that Dion was going to bring, we're going to force our way out of a trade. There's only some cities that my son is going to play in. And I think that all of that baked into the equation.
Yeah.
Played into it. And
it became a perfect storm of
with the Raiders.
like, yeah.
Tom Brady's pulling the strings, right? It is minority owner, president of football, Tom Brady. And I think he has a good relationship with Shador and Dion. But I think at the end of the day, Brady, Carroll, Spytek, the way the organization is going is football team first. Do not put anything at jeopardy. And I think they thought there was suspicion, and they just weren't comfortable with. And then also, as I said earlier in the draft segment, you look at the players that the Raiders were drafting, they're not, other than the quarterback, none of these guys are projects, right? Like your first 5 or 6 picks are all dudes that should come in and compete because you have the veteran quarterback. So I think they were trying to add as many pieces through the draft to compete right away, to make sure that this roster is as deep as possible. Where if you have Geno Smith and then you come in and you draft Shador Sanders, it's kind of a wasted roster spot for right now, because I think they're just trying to get competitive. But I think you summed it up well, Vince. It's all of these off the field things baked into it. And I think that's what dropped him. I will say that the prank call was effed up. That was wrong. That was messed up. And I will say that Shador Sanders did handle that really well.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked his quote where he said, you know what? It is what it is. It didn't even bother me. We all do childish things sometimes in life. I ain't tripping. And he picked up the phone. The kid called. Jax called. I shouldn't call him a kid. He's a 21. He should know. He's 21 years old. He should know right and wrong. He stole information from his father's laptop, made this prank call. So I will throw Shador Sanders some flowers on that. He did handle that very well in a very ugly moment.
Yeah, I mean, my last thoughts on it is that, like, I give New York shit all the time, but there's just no way that Dart is better than Shador. Tyler Slow for the Saints. Yeah, all the off the field stuff was a big issue, but I was kind of shocked that at least the Saints weren't even looking at it, knowing that they're not going to be competitive for the next four, maybe 5, 6 years. To have a quarterback that you could grow into that position, it just was really telling that a lot of the stuff that was on the background didn't want to be picked up by teams that probably could use a quarterback and could care less about what his talent level is at this point, is what it seems like between the Giants and the Saints there. So, and then again the Browns. I mean, it's just quarterback hell. I just think about that guy that has the vest with all the quarterbacks that have been drafted since like 2004. It's like a whole vest of names. Just add two more. So, anyways,
All right.
if we don't move on, we won't make it to tip off at 7:00 tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So let's let's dive in. The Warriors are in the playoffs. They're playing Houston in this first round. They're currently leading the series 2-1. They lost game 2 at Houston, but they got that first win. We talked about it last week. So they get the split in Houston. They come home on Saturday. Let me start. Jimmy Butler got injured in that game too. Like in the first quarter, about 8 minutes into the game. And the Dubs just couldn't quite recover from that one. They end up losing by 15. They come back on Saturday. Jimmy Butler's still not able to go that game, but the Warriors were able to plan for it. They end up getting an 11-point win at home in game 3. Steph Curry in that game, he passes Tony Parker for 10th all-time playoff scoring. He's also number 1 in point guards scoring. So there's that. Steph went 35-5, like 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for the 37th time in playoffs history. That ties him with Kobe Bryant for 3rd all time. That's huge.
That kid's gonna be something one of these days.
I think Curry's gonna be all right one day. He'll be okay. He's all right. Not changing the game or nothing. So the upcoming schedule, you have tonight, Monday night, 7 p.m. tip off at home. And then the Wednesday game is at 4:30 p.m. That's game 5. If the Warriors win both of these games, series is done. We don't need a game 6 or 7. If the Warriors lose one of these next 2 games, then we'll add 6. If they lose them both, then you need to force a game 7 later. But let's not worry about that. Basically, what I'm trying to say in as many words as possible is we're going to know what happened with this series by the time we're talking next week, because those games, game 6, if it happens, would be on Friday. Game 7, if it happens, would be on Sunday. If they're able to wrap the series up earlier, then possibly you're playing game 1 of the next series on Sunday, depending on what's happening in the other side of the bracket.
Which will most likely be Minnesota.
At this point, yeah.
At this point. So one thing too, Jimmy Butler is cleared to play today. Not sure what his pain tolerance is at right now. I'm sure he's not 100%, but nonetheless, Jimmy Butler.
He's a gamer. He almost played on Sunday. Like it was a game time decision, and he ended up not quite being able to go. Thankfully, they get the W without him, and now they're gonna have him. So that's going to be great. Everybody gets kind of put back into their regular rotation spot, and hopefully we get a good W here tonight. And then we're talking about trying to close it out in game 5 on Wednesday.
Yes.
On the other side of the bracket, the winner of the Timberwolves Lakers series would be who we would meet up with. Right now, the Timberwolves, they get a 3-point win yesterday against the Lakers. They're up 3-1.
I'll be honest with you, man. Like, yeah, the Warriors officiating has been a little bit questionable as far as no calls have been going. Mm-hmm. But if you've been watching some of the other ones, like the way the Knicks and Detroit game ended, that should have been a foul call. He should have been at the line. The way the Minnesota and the Lakers game ended when they tripped Luka Doncic, that should have been a foul. He should have been on the line. So I guess I'll take the no calls at this point rather than the blatant missed calls that decide games. I guess I'll take with what we have right now. I'd say we're pretty fortunate in all things considered.
Yeah, hopefully it's doesn't turn around and bite us in the ass or something.
Yeah.
Just across the league, the Cavaliers are going to end up beating the Heat in a sweep.
They're literally beating the brakes off of Miami right now.
Yeah, I mean they're already up 3-0, and right now they were up almost 50. The last time I checked, they were up 46 points. When I looked up, they're in the middle of the third quarter right now.
It's
so that's a wrap.
96 to 51.
Yeah. So 45-point lead right now. The Thunder defeat the Grizzlies in 4 games. Let's see. The Nuggets Clippers series.
Many question marks with that Memphis team. Like, do you blow it up? I mean, what do you do at this point? Jaren Jackson has proven that he just doesn't have the IQ to stay on the court. Ja Morant with that injury, I mean, are you still going to try and build everything you can around him? Like, well, you got question mark with the head coaching job.
It's just you fired Taylor Jenkins with like 9 games left in the season. That is a poverty franchise move. I'm sorry. That's the phrase of the day. Is poverty franchise.
Yeah. Same with Denver, and you were going to say on Denver here.
Denver and the Clippers. God, the end of that game was exciting, wasn't it? I mean, the Nuggets get the 2-point win, and those 2 points came on the Aaron Gordon. They had to go to review to see if the dunk would left his hand.
Isn't he from the Bay Area?
Isn't he he's from San Jose?
San Jose, yeah.
Archbishop Mitty.
Archbishop Mitty, yeah. I can talk.
He's from San Jose. Grew up a Warriors fan, and said that he has a disdain because of Steph Curry. He hated going against him. So, Steph will do that to you.
Yeah. Let's see. The Pacers lead the Bucks 3-1, and Dame Lillard tore his Achilles. Excuse me. So he's done for this playoffs, and he's done for most of next season, maybe all of next season. Now people are starting to wonder, is it time for the Bucks to maybe blow it up? I mean,
it is.
Damian Lillard, who, we all love, is from Oakland, and his time in Portland was incredible basketball. Those were a lot of fun games with the Warriors and in Portland Trailblazers. But with the blood clots and now this injury, he's 35? He's going to be 36 when he comes back. If I'm Milwaukee, it's probably a good time to just, what can you get for your stars, with what's left, because Giannis, is he going to want to stick around for rebuilding? Can you even rebuild with that contract and trying to get rid of everything else? I don't think he would want to be there. I don't know. I'm thinking trade blow it up.
Do you trade Kuminga, Moody, and TJD for Giannis Antetokounmpo for cap reasons to make money make sense?
I think financially that won't work, but sure.
Yeah, sure.
You could do it. You could do a sign and trade with Kuminga. You're gonna have to do a sign and trade with Kuminga. You really don't have a choice in that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't make it work. If you can make it work, absolutely.
Yeah, but would Milwaukee take that trade though?
I don't think they would. I mean, you probably it's not just. I don't think it's just the Kuminga. It's also like draft picks. They're going to want the draft picks because you want as many opportunities at the lottery as possible because you're looking at the OKC model. That's the model.
Right.
Yeah. Let me have 35 picks for the next 7 years.
First round draft picks.
Yeah. I just think, man, sometimes players, I know you want to get your bag, but I just feel like sometimes you got to take a step away and look at the big picture. Giannis signing that extension is going to prove to be the most difficult thing for him because he can't get out of it. And I guarantee you there's not going to be really a team that wants to trade the whole entire farm for Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what I mean? He's how old is Giannis? 31, 30 years old on the dot?
You'll have to, I mean, I'm sure you're looking that up.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So just
he's 30 years old on the dot. So, I mean, are you really going to trade the whole entire farm for a guy who, could possibly be on the decline the next 2-3 years? You know what I mean? So it's just he put himself in a tough situation. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the question: is how many years are left on that contract?
Yeah.
I mean, if the contract expires and he's still under 34, might be worth it. Might be at least having the thought experiment. But I mean, if you're still paying him, especially a big man to like at 34, 35, 36 years old, that's going to be a little bit of a tougher sell for a lot of GMs. The Knicks, with that one
Just real
point
quick,
win,
Giannis's contract ends July 1st, 2028. So he's got a couple years.
he's got 3 more years. Yeah.
Mhm.
So okay. So yeah.
With
so,
a player
so
option in 27.
yeah. So I mean, that's in terms of length of time. I'd be interested in kicking at least having the thought experiment. The contract ending in 2028. I think that's at least worth a discussion. If it was any further than that, then it's like kind of I don't know, man. The Knicks have that 3 games to 1 lead on the Pistons. We thought that could have been a lot closer, and it probably should have been, especially with the last game yesterday.
They're not. I mean,
win yesterday.
I'm all for physicality in the playoffs, but some of the stuff is getting a little absurd, man. Like,
Right.
it's like hockey level, and if you want to play hockey level, I'm all for it. Just let that be the standard,
Totally. And the Celtics are leading 3 games to 1 over the Orlando Magic. So Celtics should handle business there as well. So I mean, we'll be talking about the second round next week, and hopefully the Warriors are participating in that. So that's what we are aiming for. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're cheering for, and hopefully everything goes our way.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about a series with probably the Minnesota Timberwolves, but could be real interesting if the Lakers are able to crawl back into that series, and then you only have to take the 1-hour flight down to LA.
Yeah.
Well,
I already know what LeBron's saying. I've already done this before. You just got to get their best defensive players suspended.
Yeah.
That's how you win a 3-1.
Yeah, you got to draw a kick to the nuts first, and then go from there.
Yeah.
That was incredible that the starters played the entire second half.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, LeBron's 40. What are we doing?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
No wonder they had nothing in the tank towards the end of the game. There's nothing there. That was impressive. Right. So, anyways.
Yeah, so just real quick, Valkyries are coming up. Next week is when preseason starts. They're playing the LA Sparks and they're playing the Phoenix Mercury next week. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. The regular season begins the week after that. They'll be hosting the LA Sparks again on the 16th. So just kind of keep your antennas out for that, and we're just keep an eye on that, and we're ready to go for WNBA too. The Warriors and the Valkyries going to be sharing a court. There may be some quick changeovers depending on what the playoff schedule looks like for the Warriors. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I think.
Worst things have happened.
Yeah,
I ain't mad at it. I'm not complaining at all. Don't hear what I'm not saying.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, a lot of people in the business have had worse changeovers, like changing an ice rink into a basketball court.
Oh yeah, those are
same day.
That's way less fun.
So it's all good.
Watch out! Miami's crawling back. They're only down 45 right now.
Oh man, don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, I think I'm ready to move to the pitch here.
Let's talk about it. Let's start celebrating.
Woo! Man, 3 times in 3 years, Wrexham has been promoted and is going to the Champion League. I mean, what do you say, man? I mean, they beat Charlton Athletic 3-0. This next game is
never
play all the reserves, play everyone in the farm system you want to. No need to play any of the big name starters. Right. You don't want them to get hurt. So going into next season,
never a doubt. They scored in the 15th minute, and then 3 minutes later, as I was like getting my shoes on to go out the door to help my dad with something, Sam Smith scores in the 18th minute, and then he gets another one just for good measure in the 81st minute as well. Yeah, that goal in the 18th minute was absolutely bonkers. I forget who it was, chipped it over the top, and then he just does this like flying ninja kick and just bangs it home, and just wild, man.
Yeah, that was electrifying. I wasn't expecting early scores. I thought it might be a little bit of a puckering situation for Wrexham, but they're like, we've done this twice. No need to worry about it. So
Right.
they came ready to go, and it looks like Charlton Athletic. I mean, don't take this wrong way. I mean, they certainly are a competitive team. I think
They're
basically
sitting in fifth.
yeah,
they're in the playoffs. They've secured a spot in the playoffs to get that third promotion spot.
Yes, I mean they're going to have an uphill battle with Wycombe and all that good stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean you basically had to go into the pandemonium circus that was the racecourse field, and trying to get your team composed, knowing that the team are just ravaged monsters screaming at you because they know what is possibly inevitable for them. It's a hard ass, man. I don't blame Charlton any bit of not coming as prepared as maybe as Wrexham was. So.
right. Yeah. So I mean, just for that play on that play in for the third and final spot, you have Stockport in the 3 spot. You have Wycombe in the 4, Charlton in the 5th, and then right now Leyton Orient is in the 6th. Reading is in the 7th, but they're both tied on points. Leyton Orient has the goal differential advantage, so and it's by 8 goals. So Reading's not catching them on goal differential. They're going to have to get a better result than Leyton Orient to sneak into that final play.
I guess what I'm most excited about now is, I'm ready for the offseason. Who is Wrexham going to acquire? Because you're going to have to spend more money to just be competitive in the Champions League. So
yeah, and you're going to have to convince some
high investors,
some Premier League talent maybe to come down a level and help them get promoted. And that's kind of been the formula for Wrexham.
Yeah. I mean, look at their goalie. They've had
Arthur Okonkwo. He's a Premier League caliber goalie, and they were able to convince him to come down to the 3rd level, and now he's playing in the 2nd. And we'll see how long it takes him to get promoted to the Premiership, but that's the goal. That was the stated goal by Robin Ryan when they took over the team, is they wanted to play in the Premier League, and they're only a step away now. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen next year, because this is unheard of, this is unparalleled, this does not happen. But the fact that they're willing to spend, and they're willing to listen to smarter people about and they're willing to just do what's needed, and oftentimes it's taking a step back. Sometimes it's they're really good at fundraising and stuff like that. The whole welcome to Wrexham, the whole reason why we even know they exist, man, is because they know how to get money through Hollywood and stuff, right? And this is the formula for them, and it's worked better than I think they had any right to think it would at this point. So hats off to them getting it done again. So impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what the next step is going to be. Are we going to get top level players from European leagues? Are we going to get top players from, your Italian and Spanish leagues? Are we looking at MLS top players? It's going to be fun. Speaking of MLS top players, I keep seeing Berhalter's son name pop up everywhere. He is absolutely on a fucking tear in the MLS. I think he scored 7 goals in the past 2 games.
Who's he play for?
He plays, I believe, for Washington or something. He doesn't play for his dad, so he doesn't play for Chicago. But I mean, his name keeps popping up for whatever reason, because he keeps scoring damn goals.
Okay.
But yeah, nonetheless. Bay FC, man. What are we at here?
Okay, so they get the draw on Saturday against the Seattle Reign, a game that Papa G was at. 1-1 draw against Seattle. They're currently 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. That's 8 points. Good enough for 8th in the NWSL. Fun fact, Seattle is also 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, and they've done it in the exact same order as well. They started the season with the draw, and then they get they get the let's see, it was the win and then 2 losses, and then the win, and then they both draw against each other. So I think this was a very fitting outcome, and they're actually tied on goal differential at 0. So technically, Bay FC and Seattle Reign are both tied for 7th right now. So that's fun. Yeah. So 8 points. It's obviously early in the season still. Rachel Kundananji, the goal that she scored was absolutely wild. She's coming in, she shoots it. She's coming in from the left, shoots it to the far side, off of the far post. It cuts directly across, hits off the near post, and then goes in. Like, so she got 2 posts on one shot, man. It was bonkers. I don't like you don't see that. Yeah, it was electric, he says in the chat. Like I like so wild. And so that was the goal that that BFC got. Seattle got a goal early in the second half to tie it up. Your expected goals, BFC was a little bit better, 1.22 to 0.99. So but not better enough to really, differentiate, I guess. Like, these are 2 very even teams played to a draw, and they're very middle of the pack teams right now as it stands. So which is an improvement from Seattle. They were near the bottom of the table last year. BFC ended up in 8th last year. Right now they're sitting tied for 7th. So not really an improvement, obviously, but there's still time. They're still early in the season, and we'll see what happens. I'd like to see them fight their way up to maybe 4th or something and earn home field for the first round of the playoffs. And that was the stated goal at the beginning of the year. We'll see if maybe Albertine Montoya is holding them back a little bit. I don't know. Their head coach. He's like, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of rumbling about some of the decisions he makes with the starters and stuff. And there's still a lot of questions to shake out. He was like coaching a lot of these players that are Bay Area local. He was coaching them in youth, so he at least has familiarity with some of these players. So that's at least part of the reason why he was brought on. He was also, as I had mentioned before, he was the head coach of the prior women's soccer league iteration, the Gold Pride FC, who ended up winning that 2010 championship with Marta on it. He was the head coach of that team. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
Other news though, out of the NWSL and Bay FC specifically, they're going to host the Washington Spirit at Oracle Park in San Francisco this summer on August 23rd. So that's actually really exciting. They're going to try to go for the record for highest crowd attending a NWSL match. That record is held by Chicago, who played Bay FC at Wrigley Field last year. So this will be 2 years in a row Bay FC is playing at a baseball stadium. So this is going to be an opportunity to see, to have a lot of people seeing Bay FC, and having it at Oracle Park. It's a little bit easier to get to than PayPal. You do have, if you're coming from San Jose, you just ride up the train. If you're coming from the East Bay, obviously you can take BART, or you can take a ferry over there or something, and then walk. And that's fine. That's probably what I'll end up doing, because I don't want to pay for parking.
Speaking of, you just made me think about it. So they're trying to sell out Oracle. Did you guys see what the Savannah Bananas did?
No, what?
They sold out Clemson's football stadium of 87,000 people.
Shit. Shit. Oh, damn. That's wild.
Over the weekend, man. This is crazy.
So cool. Anyway, yeah. One last note from the NWSL. They submitted an application to U.S. Soccer to form a second division. They're aiming to launch the second division in 2026, and it's to kind of help develop rising stars and a development path for coaches and referees as well. It's going to start off with 8 clubs, and basically their goal is by year 4 to have all NWSL clubs having a Division II team. And then opportunities will exist for unaffiliated clubs to join as well. So, yeah, you might see some other clubs join the second division league as well. So
doesn't Oakland's women,
they play in the USL women's league, so it's separate.
So there's no way they could have the Soul on there, huh?
I mean, the Soul could, in theory, leave the USL and join the NWSL2 league or whatever they're calling it. So the initial 8 clubs for this second tier league will include Bay FC and then Kansas City, North Carolina, New York, Orlando, Louisville, Seattle, and Washington. And it'll be a 14-game regular season schedule. So basically, you're playing each team once at home and once on the road.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of exciting news. More development opportunities for more players. The coaching, especially, get some game experience coaching women. And right now, actually, there's only a couple of women head coaches in the National Women's Soccer League. So this is an opportunity to get some more women to coach women, which I would think there would be more of. The WNBA does a better job of that right now than the NWSL does. So
right.
Yeah. All right. That's what I got for Bay FC, and I think that's all we got for soccer in general.
Yeah. Might as well jump into the other story of playoffs.
The final playoff story is the San Jose Barracuda. That's right, the minor league hockey affiliate of your San Jose Sharks. They defeat the Ontario Reign, which is the LA Kings AHL affiliate, in the opening round of the Calder Cup playoffs. So that's exciting news. I do have a couple of notes here on my own.
Askarov was playing on top of his head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he 2-0, 979 save percentage. He only allowed 1 goal on 47 total shots. So he gets a shutout in game 1. He only allows 1 goal in game 2. That's a 2-game sweep of the series. They are moving on, and they will be playing the Colorado Eagles. I believe that is the Avalanche affiliate, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah. So exciting times. They're going to host the first 2 games, game 1 and game 2, at Tech CU Arena in San Jose. That's it's a fun little arena. We've been there before. See a game, and then the final. It's a best of 5 series. So, game 3, 4, and if they need game 4 and game 5, that'll be in Colorado as well. So to limit travel, they have the first 2 games at the lower seeded teams barn, and then they go to the higher seed for the rest of the series. So that'll be this round, and if the Barracuda can advance to the next round, it'll be the same there as well. The the AHL playoffs is 5 rounds instead of the 4 rounds for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that means the final 2 rounds, those are going to be 7-game series. So here's hoping for a lot more playoff hockey in the very near future for the young kids, the guys that will be Sharks in the near future.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we're hoping for.
Well, speaking of a future Shark here, Sam Dickinson wins the Max Kaminsky Trophy as the best defender in the OHL for the London Knights. So
that's right.
Love it, man. Call him up next year. Let's go.
Yeah, he's going to be fast-tracked. He'll probably spend some time down at the Barracuda, but it would not shock me at all if he got at least a little bit of time with the Sharks next year, depending on how the Sharks season is going and how his season is going as well. So,
well, especially after the Sharks draft the number 1 pick, another defenseman. So,
he's gonna get a couple of guys fast tracked. We'll see. Just Stanley Cup hockey in general. Looking at it right now, Tampa Bay is actually beating Florida as we speak in this game. Game 4. Florida leads the series 2-1, but Tampa's looking to tie it up. So. They're in the 3rd period with about 6 minutes and change to go. So they're hoping to make that a series. The battle for Florida, who thought? Hockey, Florida. What do you know, man? Tampa actually got the win on Saturday as well. So they were down 2-0 in this series. So, fighting back while on the road, that's not an easy thing at all. So good on them. Let's see. The Stars and Avalanche, that series is tied at 2 games apiece. Maple Leafs are leading the Senators 3-1. Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild are tied 2 games apiece. The Blues and the Jets, they're tied 2 games apiece. The Blues got the win over the Jets 5-1, tying that series up yesterday. That's kind of shocking. The Jets, that President's Trophy, man, that is a curse unto itself. I don't know, man. Maybe just finish second best going forward. Let somebody else have that. This is the one I do want to talk about. The Hurricanes are leading the Devils 3-1. Timo Meier, he actually injured the Hurricanes goalie, crashing hard into the net, which is,
Hey, he wasn't called for it. He wasn't called for it.
It was not a penalty called.
Which I have no idea how.
I don't. It sounds like what it looks like what happened. Excuse me, that sounds like it looks like what happened was he was pushed a little bit in the back, and then he kind of ended up crashing into the goalie, and hopefully he's not missing any significant time. Let's see, the Capitals are leading the Canadiens 3-1, and the Kings and Oilers are knotted up 2 games apiece as well. So
well, to be fair though, it's not Timo Meier's fault because
it's not.
Because he got concussed by Brent Burns headbutting him.
That's right.
series.
Yeah. So that's they're having fun there. So just kind of interesting stuff happening in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Again, we'll be on to the second round by the time we're talking next week for most, if not all, games in the series. So it's kind of fun seeing the overlap with hockey and basketball. The schedules kind of mirror each other a lot, and they're mirroring each other in the playoffs. So.
Also, physicality, they're mirroring themselves because this is probably some of the most physical hockey I've seen in quite some time in the playoffs. You got literally guys fighting on the opposing team's benches, like in the bench. So that's fun. If you also watch that video, there's 2 players that played for Team USA, and they're like holding hands the whole time. So, anyways,
all right. So there's your Stanley Cup date, and that's what I got right now.
Alrighty. Well, anything else good for the order, boys?
I just saw that Shaq is going to be Sacramento State's general manager.
Yeah, his son is going to transfer to Sac State. Mike Bibby is obviously the head coach of Sac State. So, and then me and Vince were talking a little bit early before the show started. Sac State is wanting to be a Pac-12 team. Just sounds like they're gearing up to get their sports set up. That also being said, there was a offensive lineman from Sac State that got drafted in the 5th round. So congratulations, getting drafted in the NFL from, we'll say it's a small school. So no small feat, and should be praised for that.
My brother graduated from Sac State, so I do have a little bit of a soft spot in my in the empty cavern that used to have a heart for that school. I went and hung out and with him a couple of times, here and there. So yeah, that's right.
Get ready for the Warriors.
Yeah,
get hyped. Get ready.
Right.
If you're a Rockets fan, I don't even know why you're listening to this feed.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah.
On that note, guys, thank you guys for listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Also, if you don't have time to listen to the full episode, we put out several segments throughout the week, which there'll be plenty to talk about and plenty to listen to this week. You can catch all that on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into the DMs. Love to interact with all of you guys. Go Dubs.
Go Dubs.
Go Dubs.
FJF.